you talked a little bit about in the pre-fight video, perhaps not fighting again, and thoughts about that. How much did that go into your mindset? I mean, how far were you into thinking maybe I won't fight anymore?
Well, not very far, because I didn't want to let myself get there.
Yeah.
It seemed as though at one point that I wouldn't be able to fight again. It very realistically seemed that way. But I never gave up hope. I never quit and said, I'm going to quit trying. It just seemed pretty dark. And I just had to pick myself up and find the path, and figure out a way to make it work and hope that it did, and it did. I just pushed hard, and for me, it was just a lot of research and trying to figure out how to get the nutrients I need because I have a limited diet. So training at this level, I burn so many calories that I burn away my body. And, if I don't eat the right foods, I'll shrink. I'll walk around at like 160 pounds, going from 195, 200 when I got in UFC. So I just had to figure out the diet and how to not affect my esophagus. And it was a trial and error and a lot of research, but it worked out.
And now you're at a point where you're comfortable with your diet and you're feeling 100% again?
Yeah, I still can't eat a lot of the foods that I like that I used to eat, but my diet's better than ever. I never really had a set diet when I was fighting before, like as a middleweight in the UFC. I just ate, as clean as possible, no fast food, and, I cut the fats out and, kind of like the sort of just common sense approach without any kind of scientific theory behind it or any like research, just, what you think is going to work.
Yeah.
And now I eat extremely clean. Like I've done so much research and I eat, all the best foods and supplement in the protein and the vitamins and nutrients that I need. So I feel amazing. I feel way better than, when I was obviously eating not as good.
And do you have a coach for that? Do you have like an eating coach to tell you what to eat and what not to eat?
Yeah, just guys from the gym. There's so many guys at AKA. So we have a lot of people that are, really good at nutrition and diet. So, I mean, that's the great thing about AKA is we got so many good fighters, so many good coaches and just everyone there. So, you can go to that gym and get everything done, through all the guys there.
Yeah, that's definitely great. Part of, I guess, the perks of training at, a world-class camp like AKA. What are some of those things that you want to eat, but you just can't anymore?
Garlic.
Really?
Yeah, garlic is what I miss the most, and that's on everything. So but I don't eat a lot of fast food. Like I used to just as soon as the fight was over, for the next 2 weeks, I would eat horrible. I mean, really bad. I would go before the fight, and I would just go to the grocery store and buy all the foods that I was going to eat after the fight. And then I would just look forward to the fight getting over with so I could come home and eat all Twinkie, just horrible stuff.
Wow.
And I don't do that anymore. I don't binge out and eat any of that. So after this fight, my diet barely changed. I went to In-N-Out a couple times. That was it. And I miss the taste of those foods, but I don't miss what they cause. I love being healthy. I love being in shape and feeling like I feel. So, even if this goes away, I definitely wouldn't go back to my old diet.
Now, you talked about, fighting at 185 at one point, and also during the video package that they aired before your fight, you talked about, dropping to 170 and looking so skinny, and that was because of, the health problem that you were having. Is there now a possibility of you gaining more weight and going back up to 185, or are you now a healthy, good 170 fighter?
I'm a healthy 170. I don't think I can eat enough to get back to, I wasn't a huge middleweight anyway,
right.
and that was with fat, a lot of fat on me as well. So the shape that I get in now through training, I can't keep all that fat on. I mean, we train so hard, so I don't think there's any way I could possibly eat enough to be a solid 185. I mean, when I fought Loazo and Okami, I was 182, 183. So, I think this just makes me a more complete, solid 170 fighter.
And as far as your next fight, is there anybody that you have your eye on? Is there anybody that you'd like to fight?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, there's so many guys out there. I mean, the division has gotten even more crowded since I left. So, stylistically, there's just so many good guys. I just want a tough fight. I want I want to have a better performance than I did in this one, you know, leading up to the knockout. But so I want to fight somebody who's, you know, a good, tough fighter and be able to go out there and showcase my skills, you know, and show kind of where I deserve to be. I mean, that's the only way to figure it out, you know, is to test yourself and fight a good, tough guy. So, you know, hopefully it'll be a good match.
Would you want to go back and fight Dan Hardy again?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to fight him again, just because of circumstance, you know, like it was a real tough time, and like that's the hardest fight I've ever had to swallow in my life, you know, and I don't take nothing away from him, you know, he's a great fighter, but, you know, I definitely want to have a better performance, so I think eventually it'll happen.
What do you think about a potential matchup against Nick Diaz?
Yeah, I never really even thought about it. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really thought about it, to be honest with you. There's just so many guys, you know, I mean, you could name names for a while. I mean, there's so many talented guys that are in this division, and stylistically, I just want a guy to fight me like Damarques. You know, I want to go out there and you know, be a crowd pleaser and have an exciting fight. So I want to fight guys that are going to bring it and strike, and, you know, whether it's on the ground or the feet, that are just trying to finish and go for it. You know, Damarques did a great job of coming after me and trying to finish the fight, and, you know, us doing that combined made for a great fight.
Definitely, and I think Nick Diaz would be a very exciting fight between the two of you. Prior to your Dan Hardy fight, you were considered almost next in line for a shot at George St Pierre. How many fights do you think it's going to take before you're, you know, back at the top of the top 10 and ready for a title shot?
I mean, I think it would take around the same. You know, I mean, I think I would have to accumulate, you know, a win streak with impressive wins over impressive people. So, you know, that's definitely the path I want to take. You know, I mean, my goal is to get that again, obviously, and I think that's every fighter's goal. So that's definitely what I strive for every day. And now it's just, you know, getting in there and getting step 2. You know, step 1 was to come back and get a win, you know, and prove that I'm, you know, a fighter that can come back and fight through this. And now I need to establish myself in the division and show where I belong.
And I think you definitely did. UFC President Dana White seemed just so happy for you, seeing you fight for the promotion for so long and then seeing you come back. Were you surprised at how happy Dana was?
No, you know, Dana's always been real supportive. So, you know, I'm appreciative that he is happy and that the UFC is happy, but they were like family, you know, they're still like family, obviously. And so, you know, we were close since tough. And, you know, we did a lot of PR together and you know, a lot of tours and interviews and stuff like that. And then I've had a lot of fights. You know, this was my 13th fight. So they've been there for me since the beginning. And, you know, when I was going through all that, I think at first they didn't know what was going on. So I was getting injured a lot and I was shrinking, and they were still supportive. And then when they found out what was going on, finally, you know, I think they appreciated that I kept fighting and kept giving it my all. So, you know, I appreciate the support, and it makes me feel really good that they're happy. And I'm glad that, you know, they stepped up and took a chance putting me on the main card on Fox, and that was a big risk for them. And I'm just glad that it worked out, and I got to make them proud and, you know, make them happy, you know.